Hey everyone, today I am super excited to share with you the new DJI Osmo Mobile 7P. Now while the previous Osmo Mobile 6 was a fantastic gimbal, it was starting to show its age and fall behind compared to the competition. Well, with this new 7P, DJI is right back in the game, with improvements such as being faster to use thanks to its one-step unfolding. It also now has a built-in tripod, meaning you don't need to carry one as an additional accessory. It also has a new attachable module that functions as a light, microphone receiver and can track you, allowing you to use your phone's native camera apps and other third-party apps. And if you do want to use the Mimo app, its tracking has also been upgraded to use ActiveTrack 7, which has new improved tracking capabilities and can remain locked on the correct subject when there is multiple people in the frame. So today I would like to walk you through everything that's new on this gimbal compared to the previous Osmo Mobile 6. And if you would like to pick it up or find out more about the Osmo 7P, I will put a link in the description down below. Okay, let's quickly start by taking a look at what, if anything, remains the same before diving into a breakdown of the new exciting features. Now, when you first take the OM7P out of the box, you would be forgiven to think, hold on a minute, this looks exactly the same. The shape looks vaguely similar. The button and control layout looks roughly the same. They even both have the same length extendable selfie stick. However, when you then take a closer look, you can see it's actually been refined in pretty much every area with some big and some more subtle differences. So, putting them side by side when folded, you can see when it comes to size, they're pretty much the same. However, when unfolded, you can see that the body of the OM7P is slightly longer. And this not only allows you to get a better grip when holding it, but it's also longer as it now houses a built-in tripod, which can be pulled out from the bottom and then expanded. Now this is super handy, as it means if you want to place the gimbal down, maybe to do a tracking shot of yourself, you can quickly just pull out the tripod, fold out the legs, and you're good to go. Then, once you're done, it can be neatly pushed back up inside the gimbal. Now while this built-in tripod does contribute to this new model being roughly 38 grams heavier compared to the previous model without the tripod fitted, honestly, after using them for a little while and when holding them back to back, this difference is barely noticeable. Now looking at the phone clamp, and you can see this new version has chunkier rubber grips that hold your phone more securely. It also has an attachment point for the multifunctional module, but we will get onto that shortly. Now there is also this new magnetic quick release mount, but this is an additional accessory sold separately as an alternative to the phone clamp. And this can attach to any phone or phone case that is MagSafe compatible, and it's really handy as it means you can just keep it attached and don't need to keep taking it off like the clamp when you're transporting the gimbal. Now one of the best upgrades to the OM7P is its one-step deployment, allowing you to unfold it quickly in one single motion, after which it will automatically turn on and balance. And this is super useful if you want to capture a spontaneous moment, because it means you can quickly pull it out of your pocket and get it up and running quickly. In contrast with the previous model, where you have to first unlock it by turning the top of it to the unlocked position, then unfold the gimbal arm, and only then can you attach your phone to begin using it. And once you've done that, if you require the tripod, you also have to screw that onto the base of the gimbal. When you also fold the older OM6 down to put it away, you will also notice that you have to take your phone off and remove the magnetic clamp, as you can't fold the gimbal down with it still attached. However, with the newer 7P, you can actually just leave the clamp still attached when folding it down. And this has the benefit of meaning you don't need to store that clamp separately and greatly reduces the likelihood of losing it. When it comes to battery life, there's also big improvements, with the newer model having a runtime of around 10 hours, compared to the Osmo Mobile 6's runtime of around 6 hours and 24 minutes. Also, a new feature is the ability to charge your smartphone via the gimbal itself. So if while recording your phone's battery gets low, you can simply just top it up while continuing to use the gimbal and don't have to stop capturing footage with it. Something again not possible on the older model. Now arguably the main reason to get a smartphone gimbal is to get nice stable footage with a level horizon. And with the new Osmo Mobile 7P, just like the older model, you get 3-axis mechanical stabilization of the pan, tilt and roll axis. Although with the OM7P, the gimbal can now pan around much further, and this allows you to use your phone's rear-facing camera when vlogging. You can also easily switch between forward and rear facing by pressing the trigger 3 times to quickly rotate the gimbal around between the two. This larger panning range also helps if you're tracking yourself moving around the gimbal, as it means the OM7P can track you further before it hits its limits. In my testing, the stabilization is also pretty much the same as the previous model, that is to say, really good, smoothing out any movements or shakes as you move around, allowing you to get super smooth shots. Looking at the controls between these two, and again, you can see they're almost identical. On the side, you have a scroll wheel, which can be used to zoom in or out. There is also a joystick, which can be used to move the gimbal around, and to change between modes, you just press this small M on the side of the screen, allowing you to change between 4 modes: pan and tilt follow, pan follow, FPV, and spin shot mode. There is also a shutter button to start or stop a recording, and a switch button that can either be used to switch between the front and rear cameras, or rotate your phone between landscape and portrait mode. Looking at the back of the gimbal, there is also this trigger, which can be used to enter lock mode, recenter the gimbal, and rotate your phone between forward and backward facing. Although, just be aware, to get full functionality of these controls, you must be using the DJI Memo app. Buttons such as the switch button to change between front and rear camera and the zoom wheel do not work outside of that app. Okay, now that we have covered some of the smaller differences, let's take a look at the first big upgrade, and that is the addition of this new multifunctional tracking module. This simply clicks onto the side of the phone clamp and has 3 different capabilities. Firstly, it's a light, which can be turned on by pressing and holding the scroll wheel on the side of the gimbal. Once on, you can control the brightness by turning the wheel, or if you press the scroll wheel once, this then changes to allow you to control the color temperature of the light. And all in all, there are 4 levels of color temperature and brightness, giving you lots of flexibility depending on where you're shooting. So this will come in really handy if you're trying to record in lower light situations, for example. The second handy function of this module is the fact it can double up as a receiver for the DJI Mic Mini. Now, this microphone does not come with the gimbal, but if you already own the Mic Mini and want to use it with your smartphone, this can save you having to plug in an additional transmitter, as instead, all you have to do is connect this module to your phone using a USB-C cable, and now you can record the audio from the transmitter to your video recordings, perfect for vlogging. Now, tracking with the previous Osmo Mobile 6 was one of the features I found most useful, especially since I am generally out recording videos myself, as it meant I could simply set the gimbal down on its tripod and essentially have it act as a camera operator to follow me around. But up until now, using tracking with the OM6 required the DJI Memo app. This meant that tracking wasn't available for things like the native camera app on my phone, FaceTime, or even third-party apps such as Instagram or TikTok. But now that's changed, thanks to this little tracking module, as the third and arguably best feature of it is the fact it can be used to have the gimbal track you independently, without requiring or using the DJI Memo app. So with it attached, you will see this little red light, signifying that the gimbal is currently not in tracking mode. However, with yourself in front of the module, if you press the trigger once, you will see the light change to green. And now, as you move around, the gimbal will follow you regardless of what app you're using, and this opens up so many different possibilities and use cases with this gimbal. It also has to be said that while I fully expected this tracking module to not be able to keep up once you started moving faster, in my testing, no matter how fast I tried to run, it stuck with me, so I was very impressed by that. Another cool feature of this module is the ability to use gesture control. So we get nice and simple ones, such as being able to start or stop tracking by showing it or PAM. You can also start or stop a recording or take a photo by making the V gesture, but even more useful is the ability to adjust the composition by making a double L gesture. So if you don't want to be in the center of the frame, maybe you want to be to the left or right, you can make the double L gesture, move position, and then once you make the same gesture again, the tracking module will now keep that framing as it moves around. Now, while tracking this way works really well and would be my preferred option, in my time testing, I have noticed 1 or 2 limitations. Firstly, it will struggle to track you in more complex environments, and while it can continue to track you even at distances further away than I honestly expected it to be capable of, once you get that little bit further away, the tracking does start to become jerky as it starts to struggle. I've also noticed it will start to struggle if there's multiple people in front of it. So if you have it tracking somebody and they move behind another, it will often switch to the person in front and start following the wrong person. The tracking module can also only track people, so you can't track objects, animals, or vehicles such as cars, for example. However, If you're in a situation where you need to get around these limitations, or you wish to track yourself in more complex environments, then you can use the upgraded Active Track 7 within the DJI Mimo app. So what are the main advantages of using the tracking within the Mimo app compared to the tracking module? Well, firstly, the Mimo app can track you at much further distances, allowing you to get smoother tracking when further from the gimbal. You can also track a wider range of subjects, such as points of interests, helping you keep them centered as you move around them, vehicles such as cars, animals or pets, and more. The Mimo app also works flawlessly when there is multiple people in the scene. Active Track 7 securely locks onto a subject and won't accidentally switch, even if passing momentarily behind other people. So while using the tracking module opens up countless more possibilities when it comes to all the different apps you can use while tracking, you can also see that tracking within the DJI Mimo app hasn't been made redundant and still has its uses. Now, a feature that was later added to the Osmo Mobile 6 that also features on this new model, and I thought was worth mentioning, is the ability to control it with an Apple Watch, letting you use your watch as a remote. And this allows you to remotely move the gimbal, start or stop a recording, start tracking, or even change between the different recording modes. Super handy. So there you have it. Everything that's new compared to the older model. This is a timely update to what was a fantastic gimbal, bringing new and welcome features that not only expand its capabilities, but also make it easier and faster to use. If you would like to find out more or pick this gimbal up, I will put a link in the description down below. Now, before you go, if you liked this video and you learned something new, please let me know by giving me the thumbs up and clicking that like button down below. And if you love all things gimbals, but also drones, action cameras and more, then I recommend you check out my channel where I have a ton of other videos to help you get better results with your camera gear. If you don't want to miss any of my upcoming videos, then please remember to click that subscribe button down below. And when you're down there, be sure to check the notification bell so that you will be alerted when my new videos are released. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to stick around and watch a few more now, here's a few I personally recommend. I'll not keep you back any further. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you over there.